Last night I was at a party and I was watching a show. It was really nice. And at some point I realized, oh, I'm actually still watching the show a little bit, not really letting go and sort of blending in with the show. And that blending in with the show is way more important than watching the show. So when I started to blend in with the show, which means basically let go of a little bit of resistance or tension or watching duality, let's say, me and the show, what I noticed was this ease and this letting go. I started dancing a little bit silly. And then before you know it, I felt amazing. And I had beautiful conversations with people. So that's already a beautiful realization, right? I don't need to tense here. I can just chill. When you're going through these identity changes and these deep changes in realization and awakening, it's also about in every moment sort of rediscovering yourself and sort of rediscovering the world and reality. Sort of being, it's sort of the white belt mentality that's in, instead of being the black belt, sort of the cool, I'm enlightened kid that's so good at this spiritual game. It's about realizing that life is endless and we can start over every day and not needing to realize anything, just be with what is, and not from a certain center or necessary, I need to do this or get this, but more like, what does life want to show me today or serve me today? And you find these beautiful lessons no longer from a place of self-development or self-help or something like that, but from a place of, hey, I'm already okay. And what's coming my way right now? Which lessons or ideas? I find that path to be endless. And I see I'm still learning a lot. And especially what I'm learning is just to let go of this tension which I've carried for so long. Not good enough, needing to prove myself, etc. And then that tension not being there, how to live from not having that existential tension, that's what I'm still learning every day, you could say. That's a really beautiful process. And that keeps deepening for me in a very nice, mostly very comfortable way. That's also my message to share with you, because what I see is that when we're talking about awakening and non-duality, a lot of people are very hardcore and they take a very absolute perspective, but then they're not really happy in their own life as well, right? So they have this message that they're bringing out, meaning absolute, this is it, life, shut up. And I understand that. It makes sense. I'm not saying it's not true, but I see the absolute, the relative, the human, the relationship and everything are just sort of different layers which you're playing at the same time. And if you can see through all the rules, but you can just take in the feedback that life gives you based on what it manifests in front of your face every day, then you're good. So if you ignore feedback, then you get into trouble, let's say, with the relative world. So the absolute is always fine, right? There was never a problem in the absolute. Even though if you realize that or not, it doesn't really matter. There was never a problem in the absolute. But the relative is very much a reflection of who you still think you are and what your tendencies are. So I find, and that's maybe what I'm sharing a little bit more here on this channel, is not so much about the absolute, because like I said, you are the absolute, right? So there's nothing that you need to do. There's nothing that needs to be done. That's true. You can let go of everything. That's true. I do that most of the time. Not perfect in that, but let's say I let go of most stuff. Or it's automatically let go of, you could say. But then life continues. So what I'm way more interested in is to, let's say, increase happiness and let go of suffering for people, because we understand that the absolute is not something that you're in this for, because you're already the absolute, right? What most people want is to just get away from suffering and feel better about themselves, and actually taking the opposite approach of moving towards suffering and embracing that fully is the thing that will make you happier and the thing that will dissolve suffering often. So I'm so happy that this process has happened, I would say, to me, or to this case experience, who knows. But it's so interesting that it's endless in nature, right? So still really much enjoying that. How cool would it be if it's just like, oh, bum, you're done. No self, no life. That's not what we want, right? I saw this really cool quote where a guy said, what if you would have $1 million? Would you take it? Yeah. If that means that you can't wake up, you know, tomorrow and nobody would take it. So the guy said, no, I wouldn't take it. And other people would, no, I wouldn't take it. That means you're waking up tomorrow is worth $1 million. And it was cool because that's exactly what it is, right? Just to keep playing the game is way more important than winning or having a certain stamp saying, oh, you achieved this level of awakening, sir. It's not about that at all. So it's about keep living from this purity. From my side, still the most important lesson is just this from doing to being, right? I keep talking about this because it's so important to me. It's just to, surrender to what is, to what's happening, to what's wanting to happen. Because if you take all these mental framework of the form, let's say, if you take them very serious, then, you get suffering. If you don't take them serious at all and just ignore everything, in a way that can create some relative suffering. So if you see, let's say, the mental concepts and you can play in those without taking them serious, taking them into consideration, let's say, without any tension. And how do you do that? By sort of not negating concepts or the world, but by saying, okay, I can just be with this. Sort of the world is happening. I can embrace the world without needing to do something about that. I can go from doing to being, where I surrender to whatever the body, the mind, spirit, and emotions want to move right now. And that's such a beautiful experiment, which is what my life is. I'm doing my own Michael Singer-inspired surrender experiment for I don't know how many years. And I don't know if he's doing it exactly like me. I don't know. But working for me to have less tension and to do more of what actually fits me fully. Thank you so much for watching. And if you feel like just having a conversation with me about what you're going through, maybe my work could help with that, or just in general, just feel the sense of connecting. If you're watching these videos, I see you as a friend. Much love to you. Bye.